100 Philosophical Thoughts of Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche. 1. Without music, life would be a mistake. 2. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. 3. There are no facts, only interpretations. 4. That which does not kill us makes us stronger. 5. It is not a lack of love, but a lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriages. 6. In heaven, all the interesting people are missing. 7. The light of day, how can it know the depth of night? 8. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. 9. The true man wants two things, danger and play. 10. God is dead. God remains dead. And we have killed him. 11. I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on I can't believe you. 12. There is always some madness in love. But there is also always some reason in madness. 13. You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star. 14. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. 15. The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. 16. We love life, not because we are used to living but because we are used to loving. 17. I cannot believe in a God who wants to be praised all the time. 18. In every real man a child is hidden that wants to play. 19. There are no eternal facts, as there are no absolute truths. 20. The earth has a skin and that skin has diseases. One of its diseases is called man. 21. The essence of all beautiful art, all great art, is gratitude. 22. Convictions are more dangerous enemies of truth than lies. 23. Thoughts are the shadows of our feelings, always darker, emptier, simpler. 24. The snake which cannot cast its skin has to die. 25. When we are tired, we are attacked by ideas we conquered long ago. 26. All things are subject to interpretation. Whichever interpretation prevails at a given time is a function of power and not truth. 27. All truly great thoughts are conceived while walking. 28. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. 29. The most powerful people are those who don't have to put up a front. 30. We have art in order not to die of the truth. 31. There is more wisdom in your body than in your deepest philosophy. 32. In individuals, insanity is rare, but in groups, parties, nations and epochs, it is the rule. 33. Whoever despises himself still respects himself as one who despises. 34. I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and the impossible. 35. One should die proudly when it is no longer possible to live proudly. 36. Ultimately, it is the desire, not the desired, that we love. 37. The greatest events are not our loudest but our stillest hours. 38. The thought of suicide is a great consolation. By means of it one gets successfully through many a bad night. 39. Rejoicing in our joy, not suffering over our suffering, makes us become kind. 40. One repays a teacher badly if one always remains nothing but a pupil. 41. Religion is a fiction invented by poets and philosophers to assist simpler minds. 42. It is always consoling to think of integrity, that the erect and solitary soul is still safe. 43. The world itself is the will to power, and nothing else. 44. Forgetting is essential to action, of any great kind. 45. Life is a well of delight, but where the rabble drinks too, all waters become poisonous. 46. One must have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. 47. Thoughts are the shadows of our feelings, always darker, emptier, simpler. 48. The most spirited horse will go farthest if it is permitted to go at its own pace. 49. Our highest insights must, and should, sound like follies and sometimes like crimes. 50. Art is the proper task of life. 51. The word Christianity is already a misunderstanding. In reality, there has been only one Christian, and he died on the cross. 52. The demand to be loved is the greatest of all arrogant cravings. 53. In large states, public education will always be mediocre, for the same reason that in large kitchens the cooking is inferior. 54. What does your conscience say? You should become the person you are. 55. The Christian resolution to find the world ugly and bad has made the world ugly and bad. 56. Is life not 1,000 times too short for us to bore ourselves? 57. It is not their love of humanity, but the impotence of their love of humanity that prevents the continued existence of such people. 58. Hope is the worst of evils, for it prolongs the torment of man. 59. Genius is the capacity for productive reaction against one's training. 60. I love those who do not know how to live, except by going under, for they are the ones who cross over. 61. The doer alone learneth. 62. Success has always been a great liar. 63. Happiness is the same old dream, and makes one only more dissatisfied. 64. The higher the type, the more exceptional the event. 65. A dream is a short-lived substitute for thought in the night. 66. When you gaze long into the abyss also gazes into you. 67. Beware that, when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. 68. What is good? All that heightens the feeling of power in man, the will to power, power itself. 69. Not necessity, not desire. No, the love of power is the demon of men. 70. All great things must first wear terrifying and monstrous masks, in order to inscribe themselves on the hearts of humanity. 71. He who cannot obey himself will be commanded. 72. Those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. 73. There is one thing one has to have. Either a soul that is cheerful by nature, or a soul made cheerful by work, love, art, and knowledge. 74. The greatest hazard of all, losing oneself, can occur very quietly in the world, as if it were nothing at all. 75. A casual stroll through the lunatic asylum shows that faith does not prove anything. 76. Some are born posthumously. 77. Whatever has value in our world now does not have value in itself, according to its nature. Nature is always valueless. 78. Wit is the epitome of soulfulness. 79. Madness is rare in individuals, but in groups, parties, peoples, ages it is the rule. 80. When one gives one's life, one is giving one's possessions too. 81. The aphorism in which I am the first master among Germans is the form of eternity. 82. A subject for a great poet would be God's boredom after the seventh day of creation. 83. One may sometimes speak of moral physiognomy. So incomplete is the covering which speech has become for man's inner life. 84. Arrogance on the part of the meritorious is even more offensive to us than the arrogance of those without merit. For merit itself is offensive. 85. The doer alone learneth. 86. What was the greatest thing you experienced? It was the hour when you were joined together with all life. 87. There cannot be a God because if there were one, I could not believe that I was not he. 88. No victor believes in chance. 89. The herd is a force of gravity, and what is highest must, of necessity, balk at the herd and defend itself against it. 90. The man of knowledge must not only love his enemies, he must also be able to hate his friends. 91. The man of knowledge must be able not only to love his enemies but also to hate his friends. 92. The deepest spirit must also be the most frivolous. This is almost the formula of my philosophy. 93. The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. 94. In the course of history, there come ages spiritual wills more exhausted. 95. We ought to face our destiny with courage. 96. The old soul is the whole, the totality of all that was and will be, and not something becoming, not something broken off. 97. In individuals, insanity is rare, but in groups, parties, nations, and epochs it is the rule. 98. Is life not 1,000 times too short for us to bore ourselves? 99. There are no eternal facts, as there are no absolute truths. I'll end with this. It is better to pursue nothingness than to have nothing to pursue.